Hey guys, welcome back to Museum Grack Reads. My name is Elizabeth, and today we have a very, very sad April wrap-up, and we're gonna combine it with my May hopefuls because right now I'm just hopeful I'm gonna read in May. Okay, we're gonna start off with shame first. We're just gonna get it out of the way. I only read 3 books in April. I had grand plans, I had high hopes, and a chaotic April. I had a lot of work events, and in fact, a big milestone's come up for me, and that I just signed my offer letter for a full-time position for the first time in over 2 years. I'm really excited to hit the ground running with this new role, but all of that was so exciting and distracting that I sadly didn't get a lot of books read.
It starts with one.
First, we're gonna start with an audio arc, but I do believe it's all completely out now, and that is Rubicon by J.S. Dews, and this is narrated by Eunice Wong. I had such a good time with this story, and I don't often have a great time with audiobooks in general. I often find the narration challenging to get into or distracting, or I can't focus. But Rubicon really drew me in. The story feels a little bit like a movie, and it draws you from scene to scene really beautifully, but it's so beautifully done by Eunice Wong's narration. I'm a fan for life of her. I found out she actually did the audiobook for one of my underrated favorites of 2022, A Mountain in the Sea by Ray Naylor, and now I kind of want to try reading it again in the audio form because I enjoyed her narration that much. I also loved the book itself so much that I'm picking up more from J.S. Dews, so I'd call it a success. Okay, editing me realized I didn't tell you anything about Rubicon except that I liked it and that I liked the narration. So Rubicon is a far distant future where humans are trying to colonize other planets. However, after we are leaving our dying star system, we discover a creature that is fully android that they call the Mechan, and the Mechan are out to stop us. There's not a lot of communication. We don't understand their motivation. And in order to try to combat them, we've developed a technology that essentially transmits your brain into a new husk of your own body, so that if you die while scouting or fighting or whatever the case is, you just get rebooted. And so we're following a woman who is on her 96th life. And it's just, it goes from there. I literally can't say any more without ruining it. But it's an interesting concept, very well executed, feels very cinematic, highly recommend. Next up, it took a little longer than I really wanted it to, but I did finally finish the March Classic Literature Book Club pick, which was Catherine's, and that was A Soul to Keep from the Duskwalker Bride series. No notes. Who would have thought that I would have enjoyed smut with a creature that has no face? But I did, and I will be reading more in this series. I had a really good time. And the final book of the 3, I guess, was The Martian by Andy Weir. Yeah, I never got to this one. I watched the movie and thought, well, surely that was it. It was a great movie, enjoyed it, but why go back and read it? And then last year I read Project Hail Mary and was immediately obsessed. The humor, the science, the balance between everything. It felt a lot like reading Michael Crichton when I was a kid, in the best kind of way, and so that's really what inspired me to go back and pick up The Martian. It was supposed to be a buddy read with Sarah from Sarah's Shelves, and I fully understand why she ended up DNFing this, and I do not fault her for it, even though I ended up finishing our buddy read alone. It is very science forward in a way that I think could be very off-putting for people who aren't used to that kind of science fiction. And as I'm sure you would have guessed, very isolated from the movie. However, I found it really enjoyable. I laughed a lot. this poor man, nothing could go right for Mark Watney ever. And in fact, the movie was not the whole story because there was so much more that happened to this poor man on Mars in the book. However, I will say if you're just going to pick up one Andy Weir book, Project Hail Mary is the stronger of the two. I think he's found just the right balance for his voice between science, imagination, and character development. And it's such a beautiful work that I think about often. I'm not going to think about this, just like I didn't think about the movie after I was done with it. In fact, picking up this book, the only thing I remembered from the movie was the fact that he had to make potatoes in his own poop. The poop potatoes were the only memory I had of the movie, and that happens in the first 15 minutes. So it was at least fun because most of this was brand new for my brain somehow, even though I'd seen the movie when it came out. So that's The Martian. So I guess the moral of this story is wait a decade. You'll forget what the movie had in it and have a really great time with the book too. Also, I just want to point out that Andy Weir always has diagrams in his science fiction. And why do we not get more diagrams in science fiction? Project Hail Mary had a schematic of the ship. We get the full Martian surface. I referred back to this constantly. I want more maps in science fiction. This is my TED Talk. And because I am in a massive period of transition, I'm combining my April wrap-up and my May hopefuls into one video. Because really, my hope for May is that I get to read more than 3 books and that I have a good time with them. I think in this big period of transition, I need to be kind to myself and just go where my whims take me. And part of that's going to actually start next week when I take a break from my role as a consultant before going into a full-time position. I'm going to take a week to just de-stress, relax, maybe try to get to a beach and just read whatever my heart desires. So we'll see what that entails. I've been having a good time with some science fiction, but I'm kind of itching for some romance right now. And interestingly, I have a stack of horror that's calling my name. So who knows? I would actually be really interested in what you think I should be reading this May. Hi, so Lilu decided to join us. Is there a title that's really been exciting you? Is there something that you read that you're like, oh my gosh, I want everybody I know to read this? Or is there a genre that's really calling to you? I need some ideas, so leave them in the comments below. Tell me what you're reading in May or what you read in April, and should I pick it up too? Well, this was a short and sweet one, but if you enjoyed it, please consider hitting that like button. If you're not already, please consider subscribing to this channel. I do try to post somewhat regularly, although my life has gotten quite in the way lately. Hopefully, though, that will change shortly. And until next time, bye guys.